So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna connect the front with the front and the back with the back. So they are connected the same way from the waist and then all the way down over these stitches. So the front panels are the same, so this is pretty simple because we have the same number of stitches all the way down. And then we get to the stitch where the crotch begins. And here over the rows you did on the crotch, you're gonna connect the front with the front. And this is the same thing that you're gonna do on the back panel. So the two back panels here are connected the exact same way from the waist all the way down and then over the rows here in the crotch. And this is the easy part because we have the same number of stitches on the two back panels and the same number of stitches on the two front panels. Okay, so when we're gonna connect the front with the back, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna connect them over the leg. So this is in here where the front and the back crotch meet. So we have the front and the back, and then I just crocheted over this piece. And the tricky part here is that we have more stitches on the back than we do on the front. And the same goes for the outside of the shorts where the hip is. You might be able to see that it does have this curve because we have more stitches on the back. But the trick is just to spread out the stitches evenly. Or if you know how many stitches you have on the back versus the front, if you know how many extra stitches you have, you can thereby do increases. So if I have, let's say, 2 extra stitches on the back versus the front, I just make sure to go through the same stitch on the front and then the next stitch on the back, and thereby I make an increase. So I sort of spread out the stitches. And you just make sure to spread out those increases when you sew them together. So if you're gonna connect a piece, let's say I'm gonna connect this piece to a piece that is a little bit bigger. You know, when you have something that looks like this, one thing you can do is you can stretch the short piece to make it fit with the long, or you can sort of crunch up the long piece, sort of like this, just sort of hold it together, and then you can sew it or crochet it if that's easier for you. So what I did here, because I wanted a slit, I made sure to take the front and the back, and then I made sure to count so I had the same number of stitches. I think I have like eight stitches or something down here. So I just made sure that this piece was even, and then all of this needs to be connected. So what is most important is that the rows that you have up here where you have decreased, all of this, when you look at it, this is what we want to match with each other. So that's the most important, that we get a more clean look right here on the hip part. What you can do here is what I just described before. You can either stretch the short part to make it match with the long part, or you can, if you crochet together, you can crochet through the same stitch on the front and then the next stitch on the back, and thereby making an increase. And you just spread that out, do that multiple times until the stitches match up. So I have more stitches here on the back. I think you're able to see that because the front is more stretched. So yes, I think that was everything. So the beginning is pretty easy. The most tricky part is just making sure that the stitches line up, and just be sure that you don't skip any stitches because that will just make it look very strange. And don't make all the increases in one spot. Make sure to spread it out evenly. Yes, I think that was it. So I hope this was helpful in some way.